Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this here is a quick look at Dead or Alive 5 Plus for the PlayStation Vita. And normally I wouldn't do this because I've got no tripod, there's no way to keep the camera steady, and essentially I've got a camcorder resting in my chest while I'm playing this game. But I think it's probably worth it in this particular case because Dead or Alive Plus for the PlayStation Vita is really good. It's got a few things missing from its big brothers on the consoles, but I mean, just have a look at this right now. This is on a handheld device, and it looks really sweet. I mean, if you're doing a direct comparison between the two, the Vita version does, it's not quite as good looking, but they've been really intelligent with the concessions that they've had to make for it visually. For instance, it's the stuff that they've removed the polygons and fine detail from tends to be the stuff that your eye wouldn't pick up on anyway. Like, for instance, the background in there. I mean, sure, you might notice that the buildings are missing a polygon or two, but if that kind of thing upsets you, you're probably quite insane. Maybe not as bad as the Devil May Cry fanbase that were crying about Dante's white hair, but, getting up there. And that's one of the things that's lovely about Dead or Alive, just the sheer amount of carnage that happens during a match. For instance, I've just killed about 500 people, and then some poor bastard skids off the runway, goes flying into the air, and I launch a human being at his windshield. It's kinda tragic, but undoubtedly hilarious. So, to get the bad stuff out of the way first, the tag mode has been removed from Dead or Alive 5 Plus, which is strange. I thought it was maybe because the Vita couldn't handle it, but while you're playing through story mode, there are tag sections in that run perfectly well. Secondly, for some reason it's nearly impossible to get an online match, and I don't think it's due to the lack of players, I think it's just because the way that Team Ninja have set up the online really sucks ass. For instance, there was a mode in the 360 and PS3 versions which would allow you to basically receive invites as you're playing arcade mode or going through survival, and it was called the Throwdown mode, Throwdown challenges. They've been removed, so you've got to wait in an online connection kind of lobby. And I don't mean a lobby as in multiple players, because they've been removed as well. Why? I have got no idea. The end result is that it's nearly impossible to find an online match. But that is really the absolute worst thing about the game, because everything else about it is really insanely close to being as good as the 360 and PlayStation versions. Like, you can see the graphics there, they're phenomenal. The Vita hardware itself is absolutely great as far as control goes. It's a bit tough for me to play to my best here because my arms are stretched out and I'm trying to kind of cradle around a camera and keep it steady so that it doesn't go out of view. Probably, I think I'm doing an okay job here, but it's not comfortable in the least. But when I'm not trying to juggle the camera as well, I can play it almost as well as I could with a 360 pad. Possibly even better in a lot of ways because the diagonals tend to be better on PlayStation hardware. Now, speaking of PlayStation, if you have bought DLC for Dead or Alive 5 on the PlayStation 3, you can actually transfer your purchases over to the Vita through crossplay, and theoretically play people online, even though it's worked once for me in about 20 minutes of trying. However, if, like me, you bought all your extra stuff on the 360, you are shit out of luck. I mean, it's understandable why there's no cross-compatibility between the 360 and the Vita, because they're from different companies, but it still kind of feels like a slap in the face to be supporting a company by buying DLC because you like their products, and then suddenly it's all kind of worthless for this new version that you've got. Unless you happen to buy the other version, of course, and you wouldn't have known that beforehand. Now shut up a minute. Right in your face. How many other games allow you to punch a human being into a helicopter and then destroy the helicopter? And I'm not talking about Prototype, because Prototype was shit. Well, the sequel was at least. I never actually played the original. It's also kinda neat that you don't have to unlock any characters in this, although the fact that Alpha is unlocked isn't exactly a blessing in my particular opinion. She's very much a boss character, doesn't really fit in with the rest of the cast, and shouldn't really be playable in my opinion. Now, another great thing about the Vita version is that you can select music to suit each character. The PlayStation and 360 version had music that was tied into each stage, which drove people absolutely insane when the circus stage would roll around, because the music was... it was circus music, you know, it was pish. But in this one, all the characters have their own theme music, and you can select to have that playing instead, from a reasonable list of tracks that have been found throughout the Dead Alive series. Some fantastic music is missing, such as Blazed Up Melpanene and Vigaku from Dead Alive 2. But there's enough in there that you should be able to find a decent track for every character. And the new additions to this, Mila and Rig, have all new tracks which, especially in Mila's case, are actually fantastic. Sounds a lot like a Rocky training montage. Fits her character very nicely, and I have accidentally stuck it onto like about 9 characters because I like it that much. So what we're going to do here is show you another exclusive mode to the Vita version. Are you ready for this? It's the touch fight. And it's easily as good as it sounds. You've got to tap the screen rapidly in order to defeat your opponent. So in practice what that does is it removes all skill from the game and turns it into an iPad game. You know, like if you had no buttons and you were downloading this on an iPad, and some brain dead kind of guy thought that, hey, wouldn't it be fun if you just tap the screen repeatedly until your opponent is dead? See? Tap, 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 tap. Flick up, tap, 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 tap. It really can be this thrilling. Now let's dispense with the bullshit. It's got nothing to do with how it plays here. The entire point of this mode is so that you can get Christy, stick her in a cocktail dress, and then look up a skirt a lot more easily than usual. See? That is the entire point of this mode. And as a result, I declare this mode the greatest mode that has ever been added to a game. No, you're not gonna beat me. I'm the tapping master. I sure tap them buttons like a... In fact, I didn't even tap the buttons. I tapped the screen and holy shit. Okay, maybe it is worthwhile after all. I thought I had to tap the screen to continue, okay? That wasn't just a perverse lunge, okay? Shut up. So I'm going to do the unthinkable and pick a male character here. Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden. Always running about killing loads of guys, so I'm sure he'll do just fine. Yes. And this guy here is Akira Yuki from the Virtua Fighter series, which is also very good. You can't get it on Vita unfortunately, but you can get Final Showdown on Virtua 5 Final Showdown, sorry, on the SEN and Xbox Live Marketplace. And I would recommend you do so if you like quality fighters even a little. They're fantastic games. I mean, Akira plays fairly well in this, but the gravity is different from what it's like in Virtua, so he does end up feeling a little bit strange to anyone who used to play him a lot. And it's time for a Shinku Hadouken in your face! So yeah, I'm going to leave you with just one more match here, just as an example of how crazy some of the environments can get. And so yeah, I mean, I've really been enjoying this game. It's fast, it's fluid, it's accessible, and it's a surprisingly close replica of the console versions. The Dead Alive style of gameplays, it hasn't appealed to some people in the past, but if you've got an open mind and you're kind of interested in it and you happen to have a Vita, I can't recommend highly enough that you pick this game up. It's a shame that the online is busted, and it could use a few more single player modes, you know, maybe some sort of progression system. But apart from that, it just plays so goddamn well. It looks a treat, and I mean, look at that. I paused this just so you can see it, but I have literally destroyed a train with my antics on this roof. And in just a moment, Rig's about to get smacked in the face by another derailed train. This is the replay mode, by the way. I should probably have shown all my matches like this. But, yeah, there's a lot going for this game. There really is. I mean, if you've watched it this long, which you probably haven't, you probably skipped to the end, you'll have probably been able to make up your mind whether it's the kind of game that would appeal to you or not. But if you're wondering if it's a close representation of the console games which you enjoyed or you were interested in trying out, the answer is undoubtedly yes. It's one of the most impressive ports that I have ever seen. And I suppose I can't really recommend it any higher than that. So, I guess that's all that's left is for me to thank you for watching this, and I hope that I've either brought this game to your attention or given you some sort of insight as to whether you'd like to try it out or not. And that's completely ridiculous, so I'll say goodbye. Goodbye.